Rhythm Reading Review. In this video, we will review rhythms that we will see in music class. Please watch the entire video and feel free to return to any music examples you would like to try again. Steady beat or pulse. A steady beat is the underlying beat or pulse that we often hear in music. In this first example, we are going to just clap the steady beat while we say this well-known poem. Before we begin, just listen to the steady beat. Let's try it together. 1, 2, ready, go. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. So we were just clapping, not with the words, but with the steady beat. Now, so we can take that steady beat we had before and divide it. One division of the beat we're going to call plum, and we're going to denote with 1 stick. 2 divisions of the beat we're going to call apple. And those sounds, 2 sounds, are going to happen within 1 beat. And we're going to use 2 sticks to show that. The next division of the beat is cantaloupe. Those 3 sounds happen in 1 beat. Cantaloupe. So clap your hands once and say cantaloupe. Cantaloupe. Watermelon is what we're going to say for 4 divisions of the beat. So watermelon. Now we're going to take that same poem we did earlier, Mary Had a Little Lamb, and we're going to clap the rhythm instead of the steady beat. So the rhythm is the words we're going to say. The clapping is going to mirror the words. Let's try it. Here's our steady beat. This time, clap the words. 1, 2, ready, go. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. Great job. Now, instead of clapping the words, this time we're going to clap the rhythm that's in the box, the white box. So it's going to be apple, 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 plum. Remember, a division of 2 is apple. Just one division is plum. And then if you look down on the word snow, we have an arrow. So that's actually a hold. So snow is held out over 2 beats. So we're going to say plum, hold. And you're only going to clap once, and you can kind of move your hands out to show the second beat. Plum, hold. All right, let's try it using the rhythm in the boxes. 1, 2, ready, go. Apple, 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 plum. Apple, plum, apple, plum. Apple, 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 plum, hold. Now, let's try doing some rhythm exercises. Let's look at number 1. So in this exercise, we're just going to clap the rhythm as we see it. Remember, we have 1 stick for plum, 2 sticks for apple, 4 sticks for watermelon. Okay, this might get kind of fast. Make sure you clap each sound. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Plum, apple, plum. Apple, watermelon, watermelon, apple, apple. Great job. Let's try another one. Number 2 also has plum, apples, and watermelons. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Watermelon, watermelon, apple, apple, plum, plum, apple, plum. Great job. Number 3, same idea. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Apple, plum, plum, plum. Watermelon, apple, apple, plum, apple. Next one, number 4. In number 4, be careful. We do have a division of 3, cantaloupe. Feels a little different because it's not an even number of a division. So be careful when we get there. Here we go. Let's try it. 1, 2, ready, go. Plum, plum, plum. Watermelon, cantaloupe, 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 plum. A little bit tricky. All right, number 5 also has some cantaloupes in it. Feel free if you need to go back and repeat any of these. It's important that you do so you understand these rhythms for class. All right, here is number 5. 1, 2, ready, go. Apple, apple, plum. Cantaloupe, cantaloupe, apple, watermelon, plum. All right, let's try number 6. Now, number 6 has those plum holds. So remember, for that arrow, you're just holding out the sound. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Plum, hold, apple, plum, apple, apple, plum, hold. Next, we're going to talk about organizing your rhythm. First, let's just look at number 1 as an example. The black lines we have show us the different measures. Those are called bar lines. So this example has 3 measures in it. At the end, you'll notice that there are 2 bar lines, a thin and a thick. That is called a double bar line, and it shows the end of your musical example. Let's try number 1. And see how we can do. 1, 2, ready, go. Apple, apple, watermelon, plum. Watermelon, apple, apple, plum. Watermelon, watermelon, plum, plum. Great job. All right, let's try another. Number 2 also has the bar lines that divide it into 3 measures. At the end, we have our double bar line, which is a thick and a thin line showing the end of the example. Let's try number 2 together. 1, 2, ready, go. Watermelon, apple, plum, plum. Watermelon, apple, apple, plum. Apple, apple, plum, plum. Great job. Number 3 has some of those cantaloupes, which can seem a little bit trickier. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Cantaloupe, cantaloupe, plum, plum. Apple, 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 plum. Watermelon, apple, apple. Now that we know how to organize our musical examples, let's talk about notes. The longest note we're going to see is the whole note. It looks like a big round circle. One note faster than a whole note is a half note, where we just add a stem or a stick. One note faster is the quarter note. Just looks exactly like the half note, only we fill in the note head. One note faster than a quarter note is the eighth note, and it has a flag. One faster, 16th note has 2 flags. One faster than a 16th note is a 32nd note, has 3 flags. So, how does this apply? One faster, one slower. So let's look here. The 8th note has 1 flag. One slower than an 8th note is a quarter note. One faster than an 8th note is a 16th note with 2 flags. So, if the quarter note was our plum note, the 8th note would be our apple note, and the 16th note would be our watermelon note. Next, we have a whole note. It would be our plum note. A half note would be our apple note, and the quarter note would be our watermelon note. Cantaloupes are 3 apples. It's kind of different because it's an uneven division. Next, we have the 8th note as our plum, the 16th note as our apple, and the 32nd note with 3 flags as our watermelon. Last example, half note. One faster than a half note for the apple would be the quarter note. One faster, 8th note. First, let's use the quarter note as our plum. So in number 1, the quarter note is our plum, the 8th note is our apple with 1 flag, and the 16th note with 2 flags is our watermelon. Let's try number 1. Here's your steady beat. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Plum, apple, plum, plum. Watermelon, apple, apple, plum. Great job. Number 2. Number 2 is exactly like number 1, but instead of the flags, we've barred the notes together. Make sure you use the same amount of bars as flags. So if it has 1 flag, 1 bar, 2 flags, 2 bars. Let's try it. 1, 2, ready, go. Plum, apple, plum, plum. Watermelon, apple, apple, plum. Great. Let's try number 3. 1, 2, ready, go. Plum, apple, apple, apple. Watermelon, watermelon, plum, plum. One more. Number 4. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Watermelon, plum, plum, apple, 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 plum, plum. Now, let's try the half note as our plum. So in number 1, half notes are plum, the apple is the quarter note, and the watermelon is the 8th note. Let's try this one. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Apple, plum, apple, plum. Watermelon, apple, plum, watermelon. Great. Let's try another one. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Plum, apple, apple, plum. Watermelon, watermelon, apple, plum. Number 3. 1, 2, ready, go. Watermelon, 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 plum. Plum, apple, apple, plum. Last example. 1, 2, ready, go. Plum, apple, plum, 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 plum. The last thing we're going to talk about today is the time signature. There are 2 parts to a time signature. The top number tells how many beats are in the measure, and the bottom number tells us what note is your plum or which note gets the beat. So if our time signature is 3/4, that means 3 beats in a measure, and that quarter note is our plum or gets the beat. If we have 4/8, that means 4 beats in a measure, and the 8th note is our plum or gets the beat. How about 2/2? That means so in our first example, we have 4 beats in each measure, and the bottom 4 tells us the quarter note gets 1 beat. So our quarter note is the plum, our 8th notes are the apples, and our 16th notes are the watermelons. Let's try it. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Plum, apple, plum, plum. Watermelon, apple, apple, plum. Great. Let's try another one. This time signature is 2/2. 2 beats in each measure, And the half note is going to be our plum note or get the beat. So the half note is worth 1. The quarter note is our apple. And the eighth note is our watermelon. Let's try it. 1, 2, ready, go. Plum, apple, apple, plum. Watermelon, watermelon, apple, plum. Great job. Our last example today is in 3/8. 3 beats in each measure, and the eighth note is our plum note, or worth 1. So the eighth note is plum, the 16th note is apple, and the 32nd note, which has 3 flags, is our watermelon note. Let's try it. 1, 2, ready, go. Plum, plum, apple, apple, watermelon, plum, plum, apple, apple. Your assignment. First, please review anything you don't understand. Feel free to go back and do any of the rhythmic examples again. Your assignment. Create 4 different rhythms in a Word document using Opus Metronome font. Use 4 different time signatures. So you may want to do a 3/8, 2/2, 4/4, 3/4. Get creative. Each should contain 4 measures marked with bar lines and ending with a double bar line. The double bar line can be found in the Opus Metronome font, and the bar line can be found just above the enter key on most computers.